From WXXI News, this is Connections. I'm Raquel Stephen. Today marks a solemn anniversary in Rochester. 1 year ago, families gathered for a summer barbecue in Maplewood Park. What was supposed to be a joyful gathering turned tragic when police say 40 to 50 shots were fired from 9 different guns. 2 women were killed, 25-year-old Tyasia Manning and 34-year-old Phylicia Council. 5 others were wounded. Earlier this year, police arrested 21-year-old Niger Johnson in connection with the shooting. Police say he fired a gun during the shooting, though he's not accused of shooting anyone. No other arrests have been made, though police say the investigation is ongoing. Maplewood was one of the deadliest shootings in recent Rochester history, but it wasn't an isolated incident. Just weeks earlier, another mass shooting at MLK Park left 6 people injured. In fact, the Maplewood shooting was one of more than 500 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2024 alone. So today we mark this anniversary not only to remember the lives lost, but to ask, what does this mean? That's what we're going to talk about this hour. What happened, where we are now, and what still has to change. We have several guests joining us for this conversation. Laquita Roundheart is Tyasia's mother. She joins us remotely to remember her daughter and reflect on what this year meant. Laquita joins so much. Thank you so much for joining us, Laquita.
Hi.
Thank you, Laquita. I know today is very hard for you, and I appreciate you for joining us in this conversation. Okay, Laquita?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And in studio are 2 folks working in violence prevention in Rochester through a program called Community Engagement to Reduce Victimization, or CERV, a community-based violence intervention program that works to reduce retaliatory dispute-related violence. Keyvo Owens is CERV coordinator with the nonprofit Rise Up Rochester. Thank you for joining us, Keyvo.
Thank you for having me.
And I have Chiara Smith, is a program officer for the Greater Rochester Health Foundation, focusing on racial health equity, and she also works with CERV. She also recently won the Democratic primary election for Rochester City Council, but we're going to keep the politics to a minimum today, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you both for joining us in the studio. Now, Laquita, we want to start with you. Can you start by telling us about Tyasia, who she was, what did she love to do, what kind of person was she, what type of woman was she growing up?
Tyasia was a very lovable young lady, fun, goofy, full of life, always doing a lot of things with family. Tyasia was pretty much like the glue to the family when it came to like holidays and getting the family together, or to cook food, or just sit around and laugh and be goofy, always engaging with her sisters, and just pretty much was about family and her friends and the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for describing her. I know, Laquita, what can you tell us about that day at Maplewood Park? What do you recall?
Well, I just recall getting a phone call from her godmother that day. I was a little tired, restless and stuff, and she called me and was screaming on the phone, and I heard her say that Ty was shot, and I just acted and just ran out the house and just went to a family friend, and he got me to the hospital as quickly as he could.
Yeah. And what do you want people to understand about what happened there that day?
That they took a precious gift, 2 precious gifts at that, because the council family as well, Phylicia and just others wounded, like they affected the community a lot. And that's just something that I've never would have thought would have like been pretty much like my life and what our family is going through.
And how have you, it's been a year, how have you made it through this year What's helped?
I
What hasn't
moved.
helped?
I moved out of Rochester.
You moved, and
hmm
this was this was based on what happened, or
Yeah,
you had to get
pretty
out.
much. Like I just couldn't be there anymore. Like Tysia's my baby, the last of four daughters that I have, and that's that's just something drastic. Like I never thought would ever happen. Like that's a severe pain because we already lost. We had a lot of like a severe thing with my mother being murdered in 1991 and her case being unsolved, and now being 13, losing a mom, and then that's a different type of pain. But it had losing a child and so young and just never begin, just the beginning of life. It's just,
Hmm.
it's very, very, very hard. Like it's hard. Like today feels like it was that day. Like it's so boom, just opening back up. But as far as like speaking about her and trying to honor who Ty was and me being her mom and just my family going through that ordeal, her sister was with her, and that's just something that they're like yin and yang, like always together. Like anybody know Chiara and Ty was like tied at the hip, and then Ty had vast group of friends that just love her.
Yeah.
She reminds me so much of my mom. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Ty is like the goofy, like I'm there, like oh you need me to be there, like her. Like I said, her nieces and her nephews and cousins, they missed her tremendously. Ty was the goofy one that played with them, wrestled with them, big kid, just a big kid.
Yeah.
That's why she got along even with the kids at Carter Street. Like they loved her. Like Ty, they could relate, her being 25 and our Rochester kids, they a little advanced, so they with the times, and Ty is like right there with them, like
Yeah.
and working with the kids at freaking Franklin, like
Yeah.
just everybody, even the Centuries. I used to go up there, they would be cracking jokes on me like, oh, you brought Ty cupcakes and you ain't bring us none. Or Ty could call me and be like, Mom, what's some Chinese food? And I'm bringing it. Like, oh my God, Ty.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing it.
You had her spoiled.
Yes.
Yes. That's what moms do.
I was spoiled, but her godmom too. Like I used to put Ty in, like she just reminded me. I used to put Ty in punishment because Ty did not like cleaning up, and all the other girls would be cleaning up, and Ty would get on the phone and text her godmom and ask if she could come over, and she would come and pick up Ty, and Ty would get out of it, and I'd be yelling, and she'd be like, "Yeah, okay, Quita, with Ty coming with me." And then she just told me she was taking them out to eat food and going to the mall.
So she wouldn't clean up. That was her way of getting out of cleaning up.
Always getting out of something. Like, yes.
Thank you, Laquita, for sharing those memories with us. I also have on the line with me Alex Council. He is the father of Phylicia Council, the other young lady who lost her life due to the mass shooting. Alex, are you on the line with me?
Yes, I am.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I know you. Do you know you? I know you established some rapport, right? Due to this.
Hey, Laquita, how you doing? How you doing?
Hey, Alex. I'm good.
Yeah, we have really, really, really bonded. It's amazing how we both live in Florida, and both our daughters passed away at the same time, the same day, and we found out, and we both from Rochester,
Yeah.
and then we found out that our birthdays are the same day in the same month. Isn't that something?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, she posted her birthday last year. This year, and I said, wait a minute now, that's not her birthday. Is not the same day as mine.
Wow. Wow. And what date is that? When is your birthdays?
January 29th. That's hers too.
Yep.
Wow. So something else you guys can bond over.
Yep.
Something happy at least.
Yeah,
Alex, I
yeah.
wanted to ask you about Phylicia. We heard a little bit about Tyasia. Can you tell us about Phylicia and who she was and what she loved to do? Just share some memories with us.
Well, man, I got so many memories about my little baby girl. Ever since she was a baby, you know, I had moved to Florida when she was a baby, and then I had her come down. She would come and live with me every summer, and she was just, oh man, she was just so adorable, and so she was one of them daughters that was like very protective over her dad. You know, if you talk too long to her dad, she want to know who you are, where you from, where you come from, what you doing, you know, stuff like that. You know, and I remember one day I was brought a lady friend of mine to Rochester, and I didn't tell her, and she was on the phone talking to her girlfriend, and she told this lady, she's talking about, who is this lady my dad brought with him? He ain't telling me about nobody he bringing with him. Why is he bringing this lady to my job?
Very a daddy's girl.
Yeah, daddy girl. She's a daddy girl, man. That was my daddy girl, man. I'm telling you, man, I miss her so much because she was my daddy girl.
Yeah.
You know, I would sit with her at a restaurant. I remember our cousins are real tight. She tight with them, and she was talking about one of her cousins, and she was saying, because I was talking to the cousin for a while. Matter of fact, I was sitting at the dinner table with her. Then I moved. The cousin moved and went to another dinner table because we would move around. And my daughter came over, and my daughter said, "Oh, Dad, you know you got to watch her." I said, "What do you mean watch her?" She said, "Well, she be there." I said, Phylicia, you know you're talking about your cousin, right? I know, Dad, but I'm just saying, Dad. Like,
Oh, I hope that cousin is not listening.
that's why I say her name. But if she listens, she know who I'm talking about. She know I'm talking about her. But yeah, so she just was overprotective over me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She just really just like, I mean, just really in my corner, man. You know, I can count on her a lot. She's done so much for me. She was always looking out for other people. You know, me and my other daughter named Alex, you know, we were somewhat, not really estranged, but somewhat estranged. And she took and FaceTime me with my grandson, which my daughter has, and we started talking. She kind of brought that bond back together, in a sense, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's just the type of person she was. And from my understanding, people told me that when she was at the park, she was yelling, telling other people, get down, they shooting, you know what I'm saying? And she was just a protector. I mean, when she went to high school, she would always call me about a cousin that she has. I'm like, Phylicia, how you get a cousin every week?
That's a Rochester story.
Dad, I'm telling you, Dad, that's my cousin, Dad. But these were girls who she was like friends with who were being bullied in school, whatever, or didn't have no friends, you know, and she would protect them.
Yeah.
And so Phylicia, out of my three daughters, she was the least I even worried about.
Yeah.
Because Phylicia knew how to protect herself. She knew a place to go. I did not worry about her at all. I mean, because I knew nobody wasn't going to do nothing to her, harm her, hurt her, because she was a stand-up girl. She knew a place to go. She, you know, if she seen trouble, she would get away from it. But it's like, she was the least person I worried about. You know, my other daughter came down from Florida. I would worry about her, tell her, you know, hey, you got to be in the house at a certain time. But Phylicia she just knew, and I just wasn't worried about her. Yeah. And I just, it's like, so when this happened, you know, it was so hard to believe. You know, it was so hard to believe, and it's still hard to believe. Yeah. Still hard to believe. You know, still hard to believe. And she just was I mean, she worked with autism kids, and you know, and you got to be a special person to work with autism kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's a thankless job. It's not a lot of money, but you helping kids who cannot help themselves.
Yes.
And you know, and it's just you know, that just show you her job tells you, even if you don't know her, it tells you the kind of heart that she has.
Yes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it seems like both Tyasia and Phylicia were the glues to keeping the family together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. 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 It was. Yeah. So,
So
and
yeah, go ahead,
go
Alex.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Now you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, a year. It's been a full year. How are you feeling today, and what are we doing to honor Felicia's memory, family?
Uh, well, my daughter, Alexander, she had a get together in Rochester, honor her sister. So I have to I get caught up in missing my baby girl,
Yeah.
and I have to think about them as what they're going through as well, and me honoring her like today. I'm out of town on business, but I got her me and her picture, her button of me and her on there, and my daughter who sent me some cufflinks with my daughter picture on it. I'm wearing those today, and it's just, I'm just honoring her, man. Just like it's like I don't know. I'm like in between with that honoring stuff, right? Because I'm just doing stuff, right? I'm just doing stuff, and it's like it's a good thing. The bad, but it's like I don't really feel the meaning behind it, but I'm just doing it, right? Because like I said, it's been a year, and this thing is still hurting, right?
Yeah.
It's still hurting. I'm still mourning the situation, that happened, because my daughter, she bought me these this vase where it had when my mother passed in 2020, and she came up for the funeral and everything, and bought me, and she came up there and she went round to the stores and found this little vase, and she put our pictures on it and my mom picture, and she handwritten about 70 or 80 encouraging words from herself and mostly from the Bible. And she said, "Dad, whenever you're feeling bad, just pull one of these out."
Wow.
And didn't know 4 years later, I'm going to be pulling them out for her.
Yeah.
I'll be pulling them out for her. So, oh man,
Yes.
it just hurts. It hurts.
It's okay, Alex.
It
Thank
hurts
you.
so bad. It hurts so bad. It hurts.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing those memories. We're gonna switch gears, and we're gonna talk to our, can I call you activists and advocates here in studio with me. Keyvo, I want to start with you. You work directly with people impacted by violence. First of all, how did you get involved with this work? And the family is still mourning, right? And what are steps they can take
Yeah.
to get through? You will never get over it, but how can they get through?
First, I'd like to thank both of the parents for coming on and sharing the good times. Those things matter. Being able to celebrate those ones we lost and be able to work through that mourning. Another thing that I've found useful, having lost two brothers myself, is just support of others. So it's amazing that they've built a relationship, and
Yes.
I would encourage them to keep that relationship together with each other, keep in contact, keep encouraging each other, as well as other family members and friends. Humans, we're born to be together in community. That's how evolution. That's how we evolved to the point we are as with each other. So that's how we get through things, thick and thin, high or low. So I would encourage them to continue to do that.
Mm. And Chiara, is there any encouraging words you can share with the family at this moment?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today to share with all of us the happy memories and times of the two young ladies that are gone too soon. I can say that I've also experienced, all of us, I'm sure in some way, have experienced gun violence. And it does something for you. It does something to you. It changes the way you see the world. It changes the way you feel the world. It changes the way you show up in the world. I want to tell you that it does get I don't want to say better, but you learn how to mourn differently. And my prayer as a parent, I can't say what it feels like as a parent because when my cousin was murdered, my aunt lived with me at the time. And so every morning around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, there is nothing like the wailing of a mother that has lost their child. I mean, it does something to you. It changes the way you even respond to the world. But I want to say that I am a spiritual woman and I believe that God is merciful and kind and that he is close to your heart and that he is close to, the closest person you can lean on and call on is your higher power. So I ask that you lean into that. I know that I will be praying for you. I am praying for you through this moment, through this time. My prayer is that you will find comfort, that God will send you comfort during this time. And I also pray that you continue to show up, smile on their behalf, those loving, kind things that you just said, how they were, tricksters and comedians and that they were the fun individuals that sometimes just for no reason, you may feel their spirit and you do something that would honor them. If it's eating their favorite ice cream, listening to their favorite song, hopefully those kind of things will start to bring you some peace along the way.
Yes.
Alex and Laquita, I just want to thank you again for joining us today on the anniversary. I know it takes strength and so much resilience, and I really appreciate both of you for trusting WXXI
You're welcome.
to share this platform with us and to share your story with us. Really appreciate you for being here. I want to talk to our experts about why violence tend to escalate in these situations, right? What do we know about how and why violence escalates?
Yeah, so for me, I want to say how I think about violence all the time. Violence in itself is infinite in the sense of we have infinite things and we have finite things, right? So in finite, there's fixed rules, there's fixed players, there's fixed times, there's a beginning and end. Violence is infinite. Violence has been violent since the beginning of time. People have been conquering and taking over and colonizing and just being violent. There's no fixed players, there's no fixed rules, there's no fixed ways to win anything. So it continues to escalate today because today it continues to be infinite. We can't say who's going to be a perpetrator of violence. We can't say who that victim's going to be. We can't say what time. We can't say where it's going to happen. But when we try to put it in the box of institutions and organizations with finite reasons and ways and solutions to attack and solve those problems, then it's ahead of us and we're being more reactive than proactive. So in order for me, how I continue to look at the work that I do is how can I continue to be literally like water and infinite, like violence is? How can I continue to emerge myself, my organization into the community, into those marginalized populations who are more susceptible to violence?
Yeah. And what do people often misunderstand about gun violence in Rochester?
And I'll answer that question, but I also want to add onto Keyvo's question. I think that gun violence is a result of, it's a systemic issue. And I think it's based in poverty. And I believe that there are a lack of and it most often happens in impoverished neighborhoods where individuals, there are conditions like poor housing, a lack of employment with a livable wage, lack of access to culturally appropriate mental health services and healthcare services. All of those things. I know when I'm broke, when I used to be, my money wasn't right. I don't want to talk to nobody.
Right.
And I sure don't want you pushing no buttons because I'm more likely to get a little bit more enraged and inflamed. I think our people, we don't really know how to, and gun violence, I say our people because gun violence in particular impacts Black and brown individuals, 82%, I believe, of the young men. Well, I'm looking at data from CERV from 2020. There were 333 shootings, and 82% of those individuals were Black. Most of the victims were young men. we have to teach our children ways to cope. They don't have coping skills. They act out of their emotions. And again, when you don't have money and you don't have a safe place to live, and the people outside of you are shooting, and the people outside of you are involved in all kinds of different things, you're less likely to respond in a way that is appropriate. So I think that we have to prepare our children in school, teach them how coping mechanisms, teach them how to regulate themselves, how to regulate their emotions, and how to deal with themselves when they're in conflict. Conflict resolution is a big part of that as well.
Perfect. I want to take it back to Maplewood. Police have said several people showed up to this gathering with bad intent, right? Quote unquote. Talk us through the idea of retaliatory disputes. This bad intent.
So, bad intent is hard to judge for anyone if you have not had a direct conversation with them that day or in that moment of what someone's intention was. So, what I would say about that tragic day and what took place is that everyone was having a good time, but there were those who were on the outside just looking in, and then people possibly weren't engaging with them to see what was going on. A part of that is just being culturally aware and competent of what's going on. For me, when I come in a room or when I come to a place, I can feel the room. You can feel the what's going on. You can feel the energy, and I can look at their faces and see who's got what, who's doing what, who's grabbing or reaching, and you know.
Yeah.
And so for me and for us, our organizations, we base a lot of that de-escalation on relationships. So we also know who are quote unquote shooters in and around the community, who have the propensity for that escalated kind of violence. So it's important to have relationships and connections with these individuals so that when incidents like that occur, or when there's gatherings like that, then they can be talked to, they can be spoken to. Yes. They may just need a handshake, a hug, or a smile that day, and it can turn everything around.
Yeah.
I was going to say that when you think about retaliation, it's just a never-ending cycle of violence until you get an interrupter to come in. And that's what these credible messengers are, like Keyvo, yes. Project CERV, Rochester, the SNUG program. They provide intervention services that has a mediation portion that can help intercept violence, right? I don't know if that's a word, usurp violence. But the problem is that, folks, everybody can't do this work. Yeah. Right. I think that some people, you're able to write a good grant. That does not mean that your organization is the best person to do this work. And so those who can do the work are typically underfunded and not having the resources they need to be effective. And we know that Rise Up Rochester is an effective service. We know that SNUG is an effective service and program. So we have to make sure that we're investing in those credible messengers, which have been pointed out from community and respected by community. Keyvo is one of those credible messengers, and we need to continue to invest in these individuals.
Yes, because people would more likely take advice from someone
100%.
That they respect, right?
Absolutely.
That they know that are underground, that know what's going on in the community.
Yep, and I wanted to touch on that just again and answer your question directly as far as retaliatory violence goes. Rochester is an extremely segregated city in the sense of there's east side, west side. There are pockets in the city, but based on credible messengers and our relationships with one another, if you knew someone from the west side or the Dewey area and there was a beef going on with someone on the east side and I knew them, you and I can use our relationships, the strength and the currency, our relationship currency, to then get those two to sit down, or those two groups and organizations to sit down and then have a conversation and a ceasefire and be able to piece that out. Essentially, all wars, even in world wars, end in diplomacy. They end with sit downs. So,
communication. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk more about the Maplewood shooting and how things have changed in the years since then and what still needs to happen. That's coming up on Connections right after the break. Stay with us.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from United Way of Greater Rochester and the Finger Lakes, serving the community for more than 100 years, dedicated to creating a future where everyone's basic needs are met so all can thrive. More at unitedwayrocflx.org.
You're listening to Connections on WXXI. I'm Raquel Stephen. Now, if you're just joining us, this week is the 1-year anniversary of the deadly mass shooting at Maplewood Park. And always, we'd like to invite our listeners to join in on the conversation. You can call us at 1-844-295-TALK. That's 1-844-295-8255. Or at 585-263-9994, or email us at connections@wxxi.org, or you can comment right in our YouTube channel. Joining me in studio, I have Keyvo Owens. He's the CERV coordinator with the nonprofit Rise Up Rochester. I also have Chiara Smith, a program officer for the Greater Rochester Health Foundation, focusing on racial health equity. And on the phone lines with me, I have Alex Council, the father of 34-year-old Phylicia Council, who passed away that day at Maplewood Park. Also, Laquita Roundheart, the mother of Tyasia Manning, also a victim of the mass shooting. I want to ask both Laquita and Alex, what have you heard from law enforcement? Any updates on the case? What are you hearing?
No, nothing. I haven't heard anything since like September. So Tyasia, I think, was recording or something, and I think like a bullet went through her phone, and a tech had basically like rebuilt her cell phone to save like pictures and things of that nature that we could still have in videos. That he rebuilt it to another iPhone, and that was the last I heard. I haven't heard anything from anybody. I mean, I did meet with the governor, and I've been down to city council and things that they was having, so nothing.
And Alex, anything?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since they caught the guy, and really didn't hear too much before then, but then I hadn't heard anything since they caught the guy.
He's not even a guy. It's just a guy.
Right. Huh?
It's just a guy.
Right.
It's just one of the shooters. It wasn't like, it's just a guy to me.
They caught one of the guys, which I still was kind of like, I met with the people when I came up there, and I was in disagreement with them because I said to them, right, I said, they said I didn't like what the captain said on the news when he was. First of all, he was very nonchalant about the whole situation, and his demeanor was not good to me. And he comes on there, and he says that they know he's not the shooter. And I'm not trying to put blame or say he is. I'm just saying I think you just need to do a little bit more police work before you rule that out. And the thing is that my thing is I asked them, and they know this, so I'm not saying something I didn't tell them. I told them, I said, well, where's the ballistic report? Because you're saying that he was not at the angle of the angle he was at tells us that he didn't do that. Well, the only way you can really tell is if you do a ballistic report on the bullets, right? And then you could tell what happened, because bullets can leave a gun ricochet, or they can go with the wind. You know what I'm saying? It's somewhat, because the saying always been said: once the bullet leaves the chamber, tell them who it's gonna hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that I heard from the DA about the recently, but there was just an update on the trial and stuff like that there. And she called me when he got a bond, but the bond was denied or something like that there. And they're having the actual trial date. Matter of fact, it's crazy, right? They're having a trial date today. Starts today.
Wow.
I was like, wow, out of all the days, y'all having it on today? So that was kind of messed up, but it is what it is. But as far as hearing from the detectives and the people who are supposed to be investigating the case, I mean, really, I'm at this point, I don't even know who's supposed to investigate the case, because I hadn't heard from them. I mean, it'd be good to hear something. If you ain't got nothing, at least I know who the person is, who's running this, who's in charge of this, who's looking out for this, so I can say, hey, yeah, I talked to Sergeant so-and-so. He called me up. He's over the case. He's running the case. I really don't even know who's even over the case anymore.
Yeah, if it's open or if it's closed or if it's being investigated. and there was over 40 to 50 rounds. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's y'all numbering down the people of guns that was out there. Okay, well, then pick up everybody. Or somebody seen something. I understand people was running, but, you know, and that's a chaotic situation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was just crazy just to even see that and see it. Because, like, I seen it.
And you know, and just to cut in, and I'm sure Laquita will agree with me on this one, that we both don't understand, how do you have pictures of all these guys with the guns in their hands and you can't find them?
And you can't pick up nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you have that and you can't find these guys? First of all, these guys are young. They got no money. They got nowhere they got no place to stay. They got no car. They got no job. So
some of them was even young. Some of them was even guys from the community, like people you seen or what. You know what I'm saying?
They're prey. They're easy prey to be found. They're easy prey to be found, right? But it's like nobody's finding them. And then the same guy that got found, you won't believe this. I told Sergeant Joseph this 4 months ago where he was at. I told him he was at his grandparents' house, and I gave him an address, everything. You know his response was to me? Well, Alice, you know, we just can't go to people's house. I said, what you mean you just can't go to the house and knock on the door? And say, hey, we got a word that this person was here. Then 4 or 5 months later, they find him at the same place I've been told about. Mm-hmm. I know people. I know people, right? And the guy that told me, he rolled by there and had me stay on the phone. You know, Rochester's very small on the west side. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the phone with him. He rolled by there and gave me the address of the house because he's got the address of the house.
Yeah, Alex, I want.
So, I told them this, but they didn't do nothing. They didn't move on it. So the same thing where they found him at, and that's the thing. These kids that they're looking for, they're at family member homes. They ain't at no stranger homes. Family members are holding them. Grandmothers, mothers, great-grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, nieces. They're holding these guys. Because it is very hard to run when you ain't got no money, no job, no car.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm stable, but I can't just say, okay, today I'm leaving and going to another city just like that. I can't just do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Alex,
I got more than what these guys got.
I want to talk. I want to talk to our experts, and I want them to respond to your feelings, your sentiments. I know this work can sometimes get challenging for each of you. Are there moments when you feel like the system is working against you and the families that you serve?
You asking me that?
I'm asking the experts in studio.
I can say that I know that the systems aren't talking the way that they should in order to support one another. I know that one of the barriers for some of the programs is housing for individuals who, once they get shot, there isn't a safe house necessarily. Like you have DV shelters, there isn't a place that you can put a gun violence victim for fear that everyone else in that space becomes a victim. Right. So oftentimes they have to move individuals into different cities, into different hotels, and into different spaces. And so, having conversations with, doctors who may not understand, having conversations with shelters of victims who may not understand, and then having conversations with parents who don't understand what happens after a homicide. Someone should be talking to these families, keeping them abreast, letting them know what's happening every step, even if it's monthly, if it's every quarter. They shouldn't be finding out things at the same time as the general public. So I think that everyone has good intentions. I don't believe that the systems are trying to prevent, families from being well. I just think that we need to do a better job of coordinating our services so that the families are, and the victims have access to information and to resources so that we aren't ending up in another retaliatory situation.
Yeah, and we're hearing that sometimes these gunmen are young. right? They're young men. How do you engage with young people who might be involved or surrounded by violence? Like, what's important to understand about, tell them about their lives and their decisions?
I think,
Keyvo.
again, the most important thing is relationship, right? The most influential group around a person, no matter their age, is their peer group. So if you have a relationship with, say, a group of young men and or women, just a group of 6, and you have a relationship with one of the 6, then that's your in.
Yeah.
Outsiders can't come from the outside in. You have to work your way inside out. And from that point, then you'll be able to do the work and then begin to essentially heal these people that are perpetuating these crimes, because they're broken people, they're broken children.
And I know you mentioned, Chiara, the systems, right? The housing, the healthcare. What role should institutions like schools and the healthcare system and even the media, I'm putting myself on the chopping block here, play in preventing violence? What role should we play?
I think that there are ways that all of these systems can do what they can do, right? So I think city school district should be providing, again, some kind of service that helps children, teaches them how to regulate their emotions, that brings individuals like Keyvo and other credible messengers in and say, hey, because it's not a lot of shooters. I think that's one of the things, too. People think everybody going around. Everybody, it's a handful of shooters, like literally the percentage. What would you say, Keyvo?
I don't know exact percentage,
It's low.
but it's low.
It's low, but there are just like a handful of people perpetuating a lot of crimes, right? But I think so. Engaging people into the system, into these programs, intervening prior to when we see kids on a path. Reach out to SNUG, reach out to CERV, reach out to Rise Up Rochester, reach out to Serena Cotton.
Rock the Peace.
Rock the Peace. There are so many ways that we can be getting young people involved. Reach out to the city of Rochester, Pathways to Peace. So we have to look at what's in our hands, look at the resources that are in our hands, and we need to make do with what we have.
And what do you need? What do programs like these need?
More money.
To really?
I can tell you, and I'm a funder, and I can tell you that more money.
They need guidance. Like it's I don't know. Like these kids is different.
Yeah.
They different, and y'all know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
These kids is on these drugs. They on fentanyl. They on Molly. They popped out. They taking codeine syrup. They don't. These kids do not care. They ain't afraid of no behind whoopers. I can't say the other word, but you know what I'm talking about. They is not afraid of nothing. And the parents, they stop doing that, because guess who coming to your house?
Yeah.
CPS. Oh, you done threw a shoe at them, or you done did this. You used to get a whooping from your teachers in school when I was going to school. Popped on the hand. The community has lost. Don't whoop them. Don't do that. That's child abuse. You need to be knocking them upside their little head. You want punishment? You can't do that. Some kids take it. I don't care. As soon as you go to work, I'm outside. I'm gone, running away. They want to be. That's my boyfriend. Oh, I got ownership. You 15 years old. You got your whole life. Why is you shooting at a girl about a boy?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, Keyvo, you wanted to address a parental
Look at stuff
role
like
in
when
this.
Stephanie was at Jefferson way back in the day.
Yeah.
You killed this young lady about a boy that she didn't even was talking to.
Yeah, Laquita,
It's crazy.
We're gonna hopefully our expert can respond to Laquita's comments about parents, and I don't know if you wanted to respond to that.
My position on parenting is that us as grassroots, as well as larger organizations, academia, and institutions, have to be more inclusive of the parents, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a large farm and then the milling of the soil. What we're getting is from the parents are traumatized. The parents are broken. The parents have no guidance. It's literally the blind leading the blind.
They're scared.
And it's essentially because they don't have the supports in place. They don't even know. They don't know left or right. I've had multiple conversations where we need better parenting classes. We say it takes a village, and then at the same time we live in silos. We work out of silos. If we're going to be the village, we have to come out of villages, because I can't do it all. You can't do it all. One mom cannot do it all. We essentially have to surround and support all of our children in our community, and everyone grab a side and then lift, because it is a heavy lift that we're facing here in Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
So part of that is just being an ecosystem.
Yeah, and but there is the fact that gun violence has decreased significantly in Rochester. Is that what you're seeing on the ground as well, or is just
I live
numbers?
in 14621, so that's not
But
my
is that a
experience.
number system? Is that the number system? That's because that's what they talk about. They be like, "Oh, the crime is down 20%," but where?
Yeah,
Because the people that live in the hood, you like, "Oh my God, R.I.P. every day."
Yeah, is that what we're seeing? Is
Like that's what they go off of. They go off of a number system. Like even Kathy, she was like, "Oh, crime is down 15%. Aren't you right, Sergeant such and such?" He's like, "Yeah, like where? Because y'all caseload is up there, okay?"
like Laquita said, where? And can we respond? Is this what we're seeing on the ground, or is it just numbers?
So for me, I love to use analogies because it makes sense to
Yeah.
me. And I look at it as like someone saying they're the world's greatest cheeseburger. Like, what metrics did you use to say that? See, I should say, that makes sense. So essentially, these numbers that we're seeing, that people are just using their own metrics and then coming up with some number, and then using that for whatever purposes they may be using that soundbite for that time.
Yes.
And then there may be something different the
cover
next
up
time.
to cover up that it's a lot of shootings in Rochester, and the caseload is getting real hectic for RPD, and it's crazy.
Laquita,
They got a whole lot going on within themselves as well. You know, like just look at all this police violence. You just racial profilings and shootings. Y'all is making it okay.
Laquita needs to be an activist. You should
They
join.
making it. They're really justifying. Like, okay, that cop, he's serving a day, one day.
I want
that young lady.
I want to get to a caller before we wrap up our hour. I want to get to one caller here. I mean, we have a few on, but I want to get to one caller, and he is Will from Victor. Will, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for calling, Will. I know your comment has to do with, I know you teach a course in Black culture, correct? And you want to know what role do Black churches play in addressing the violence? And we do know Black churches are kind of the nucleus of the Black community. So,
So my question is, religion, if you take it out of the Greek, the etymology essentially says religion is that which you have an exact attention to. And ever since, after the American Revolution, Black religion has become pretty much the white man's religion in this country with modifications. And the next step is Black culture and how the culture evolved and into its present form today. And the Black church is the nucleus of the Black community by and large in my research. So my question for you and your panel, I'll take your answers off the air. Is the Black church succeeding, or is the Black church failing its people, especially the notion of parents? Because there are parents to all these kids that are running around the city with guns. And the question is the parenting succeeding or is it failing? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Will. Keyvo, I know you wanted to respond. If you're just tuning in, Keyvo Owens, he is the CERV coordinator with the nonprofit Rise Up Rochester. Keyvo, how do you respond to Will? Is the Black church, is it succeeding in helping violence?
So I can speak directly to CERV and Rise Up Rochester. So Rise Up Rochester is based out of Baber A&E Church itself, and it was originally a support group for families and friends that have lost loved ones to violence. So that's essentially how Rise Up Rochester began. Yeah. We still do a lot of things at the church. A lot of our board members are from the church. Our president is the pastor at the church. So I can speak to Rise Up Rochester and our involvement with the church and Baber A&E Church.
Yeah. So your organization stemmed from the church. So
Absolutely.
you would say that the church is doing its part. The Black church is doing its part to prevent violence in the city.
Yes.
Hear any comments?
I don't go to church, so I can't say. What I will say is that times are different. I grew up in church. I don't currently belong to a church. Times are different, though. I think that after COVID happened, people really lost lost touch with the church, and so many folks don't go to church as often as they used to. Generations are different. The parents now didn't necessarily grow up in church the same way I did at 46 years old, right? And then there are a lot of people, everyone isn't Christian. Some people are Muslim and they just have a different way. And so the founder of CERV, Dr. Ashad, is an imam, is that how you say it? Who is Muslim. So I think that religion plays a part in moving this work forward. And I just think it depends on where you are with that. Christian or Muslim.
And as we wrap up this hour, thank you. I want to thank our guest
I
in
don't
studio.
even think it's color. I think it's the whole.
I want to thank you, Laquita, Roundheart, and Alex Council, the parents of the victims of the mass shooting at Maplewood Park just a year ago. I want to thank you for joining us and sharing your stories and your memories. Keyvo, thank you for joining us, and Chiara, thank you for sharing your expertise.
And thank you for providing this platform.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to member-supported public radio. This is WXXI.